Hey y'all, it's Danielle from Black Business Boom and Booming University, and I am so excited to have one of my friends joining me today. She's running for school board in Rutherford County. I'm so super proud of Janice.
Thank
Welcome, Janice.
you.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me, Danielle. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I am so proud of you, so excited that you
Yeah.
decided to do this. Like, I was like, wait, hold on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for those, let's hop right on into it because I know the people definitely want to hear from you, and we are just right ahead of election day tomorrow. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about yourself and what made you want to run for school board in Rutherford County.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I'm Jeanice McCord. I'm a mom. I'm a community advocate. I'm a proud parent of a recent graduate from Laverne High School. I've experienced firsthand what it's like, the challenges that families are facing, whether it's as a parent or my son being a student there in public schools. I believe our schools deserve strong voices. I felt like the public schools wasn't getting the voice that they needed, especially from the
Mm.
school board, which is very partisan, very red. They were banning books, and like Black books, diverse books, just books that we read growing up. And I was like, we really need to see a change on that board, and it needs to look like the community that we reflect. And I live in one of the most diverse communities in Rutherford County, and I felt that needed to be reflected in leadership. So I said, you know what, if you can't beat them, join them. So that's why I'm running for school board of Zone 1. So, yeah, so I got one kid going to college, and then I got 50,000 other kids that I'm about to take in if I get this new role at the school board. So, yeah.
I love it. I love it. That is fantastic. Now, for those that are tuned in, even myself, like I
Mhm.
don't know what does the role mean? Like what does it mean to be a school board
Yeah.
member? What are some of the
Yeah.
responsibilities?
So that's a really good question. So the school board members is basically to oversee the district's budget, hire and evaluate the director of schools. Every decision that we make helps Rutherford County students thrive and succeed. So we don't manage the day-to-day operations. We're responsible for representing the community while always making sure that we keep Rutherford County students at the center of our decisions, because like I said, we oversee the budget. So the schools that are being built, we oversee the budget for that, which we have two new schools opening soon. We're probably going to have a high school that's going to be voted on this upcoming school year. So we oversee all of that, teacher raises, resources for schools. So yeah, we make some really
That's a
important
lot
decisions.
and much needed. I mean, especially we are seeing so much growth in Rutherford
Absolutely.
County, so many changes. Murfreesboro is changing every day. Smyrna now, we're
Mhm.
seeing so much growth and so many new businesses and so many
Yeah.
new people.
Mhm.
So, I mean, we have to make sure that the infrastructure is
Absolutely.
keeping up with the growth and
Absolutely.
that, like you said, it's reflective of the community and the people who are members as well. Now, with that being said, I mean, one of the things that you mentioned is making sure that everybody feels represented. And I think it can feel interesting living. I live in Rutherford County
Mhm.
and have been here for about 5.5 years now, and it feels very different than like an Antioch or,
Yeah.
even being in places like North Nashville.
Mhm.
Um, you may not see a lot of folks that look
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
sometimes.
Absolutely.
It feels a little different. And so
Mhm.
that is a challenge in itself. But
Mhm.
what other challenges would you say are really prevalent in the Rutherford County School Board or school
Yes.
district?
Yeah. So what you just mentioned, to continued growth, class sizes where teachers are
Mhm.
teaching, more than 25, 30 kids, ensuring that our classrooms are adequately staffed and
Mhm.
funded. When schools have fundraisers, that means they don't have the resources and the money that they need. And I know that a lot of parents hate doing fundraisers, but it's because fully funded, and we need to make sure that we fully fund schools, making sure that we have safe learning environments, resources for teachers. We also have to continue to build trust between our leadership and our
Mhm.
schools, and making sure that they're not on the back end of our decisions. So more transparency there as well.
I
And-
love that.
yeah.
I feel like, everybody has a role and every role is important when we're talking about, the growth and the success of schools and students. And even as community members, like everybody has should have a voice and be a part of the decision making process. Everybody should at least feel heard, even if the thing that you want to happen may not happen. You should at least feel like your voice is being heard. And so, what is your plan to ensure that everyone has a voice in decision making? The students, the parents, the community members. How do we ensure that everyone has a voice and that they feel heard?
Yeah, absolutely. So having a voice is so very important. I believe that making sure everybody's heard first, you need to make sure you know who your representatives are so that way your voice can be heard. So reaching out to your local elected officials, finding out who they are, attending school board meetings, showing up to school board meetings. There is a section of the school board where they have public comment where you can come and speak, reaching out to elected officials. Hopefully once I'm elected, feel free to reach out to me. You can go to my website at Jeanice for Zone 1. You can send me an email at Jeanice for Zone 1 at Outlook.com. I already have parents and people reaching out to me via email, and I'm not even an elected official. So people do want to be heard and they want their voices heard, but they have to feel like they're a part of that process. So showing up is the first part, knowing who to talk to and making sure that you're reaching out to officials and making sure your voice is heard because everybody has a voice. So making sure that you use that in a way that we can make things happen and make change and tangible change at that.
I love it. I love it. Fantastic. I'm just super excited
Yeah.
about this, especially, I mean, to see Black women making the decision to say, we have to be a part of the change. Like
Yeah,
we
we have
have to
to.
step up. Voting is a
Mhm.
part of the process,
Yep.
but how can I actually really impact the changes that we see? And that happens by, getting elected. So I am
Absolutely.
excited. I'm looking forward to the
Yes,
celebration when you are elected. Now, you've been out there in these streets, you have
I
been
have.
meeting a lot of people.
I
Uh,
have.
what has been the most rewarding part of the process and just being out and being in the community?
Yeah, canvassing and community events have probably been my favorite. Just talking to everyday people. Like I've knocked on doors and they've been teachers that live in this community, parents that have lived in this community, and just hearing their concerns. I mean, these are real people with real jobs who deal with our kids for 8 hours a day. So they have real insight into what can make schools better or what they think can make schools better. So meeting people where they're at and just showing up where they are is the best way to kind of get the voice of the community. So I'm never afraid to knock on doors. Now I'm afraid of dogs. So if your dog comes to the door, I may jump back a little bit, but I will knock on your door. But just meeting people where they're at, what their concerns are, whether it be traffic, continued growth of the schools, teacher retention is a big one because teacher burnout is a very real thing. And Tennessee has one of the worst pay rates for teachers out of all the
Mm.
United States. I think we rank like 40th. We rank like the lowest for spending per pupil. So we have to do better. And if we're going to sit up here and talk about supporting our teachers, that means supporting public schools. That means fully funding public schools and listening to the community when it comes to that.
I love it. And last question, and this
Yeah,
one is kind of random a little bit here, but
no
I'm
worries.
just curious because I know that there are other Black women, especially that are
Mhm,
tuned in, they're listening, and they're
mhm.
like, I've thought about running for school board. I've
Yes.
thought about running for office,
Mhm.
but I'm scared. I don't know what to expect,
Yeah,
or I don't have experience in
I don't either.
politics. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't.
So, what advice I want to first ask, what has been the most challenging part in even just kind of making the decision to do this and going through the
Yeah.
process? And then, what advice do you have for anyone that's thinking about it?
Yeah, so for me, it was I was just tired of seeing everything what's going wrong with our nation, right? So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to put myself out there. First, I started doing some research. So I looked into Emerge Tennessee, which is a great program that helps train women of color to either run for office or to learn how to campaign. And I ended up being in the program and met a woman who actually influenced me to run for office. So I didn't even complete the program because they ended up taking it online. But I digress. You can do it. Just put yourself out there, do the research, start doing some watch your county meeting, watch your school board meetings, watch your county commission meetings, watch the budget meetings. Those are the first thing I always say is like do your research first because that's free. So research is always free. See if and find a mentor, find somebody that's already doing it that you align with is politically and meet with them for coffee or lunch. Who wouldn't, everybody has to eat. So meet with them, talk about, what your goals are, talk about how you're interested in running. And I promise you that it's a very supportive community. Even if we disagree, I've talked to Republicans across the aisle, I've talked to Democrats, I've talked to independents. And don't feel like you're not worthy of being there because trust me, you're definitely worthy. If some of these folks that are in office are there, and they're doing a raggedy job, I promise you cannot do any worse because we've got some state elected officials that are doing terrible for Tennesseans. So do your homework, find a mentor, and get to work. Put those boots on the ground, as they say, start knocking on doors, start showing up at community events, and start networking. It's really not hard, it just takes a lot of time. And as long as you have the time and the energy, you can do it. And just stay motivated, stay focused on what your goal is, and you can do this. You can do it, especially Black women. We know we can do it.
We can do anything.
We can
We
do
can do
anything.
anything. So I love that. Again, I know there's so many people who are like, there's more I can do. There gotta
Yeah,
be. I gotta do something. Like we can't just sit back and let the country go to hell. We gotta
yeah,
I want to step up. I want
absolutely.
to do something. And so I appreciate those words of
Yes.
encouragement for those that are tuned in. Now, for those that are in Rutherford County,
Yes.
tomorrow is the
Tomorrow.
day,
Tomorrow's the
August the 6th,
day. Yes.
2026
Yes.
is the day. And
Hmm.
so we want to encourage you to show up, show out. Let's make
Yes.
sure that we are voting for Jeanice McCord for school board. Janice,
Yes.
is there anything else you want to leave folks with?
Absolutely. Please visit my website at Janice for Zone 1. If you're interested in running and you have nowhere to get started, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to connect you with some of my colleagues or my campaign manager. Again, I'm Jeanice McCord running for Zone 1. My email address or my website is www.janiceforzone1.com. If you'd like to email me and chat, you can email me at Janice for Zone 1 at outlook.com. Thank
Perfect.
you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
me.
Thank you so
And everybody,
much.
drop some well wishes in the comments for Janice. We're going to wish her all the best tomorrow. Super excited for you. And make sure you keep us posted
I will.
on where we're celebrating when you win.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.